Brussels. Pieter, I ask you to speculate. Do you think that Theresa May's latest battle with her own party now shows that she's not in a position to give Europe what it wants, so Europe has to give Britain what it wants?
Indeed, I think the time to renegotiate has come. And as you can hear, most EU leaders openly say that they refuse to renegotiate. But then, of course, in the United Kingdom, everyone can see that it's going to be very hard for Theresa May to secure a majority of MPs. Perhaps, indeed, some kind of a protocol addition to the binding withdrawal treaty can convince a number of members of parliament in London. Perhaps the fact that we are closer to the Cleppe can convince them, but the fact alone that Theresa May did not even dare to submit this to a vote suggests that a lot of MPs are not happy with current compromise.
You think a protocol would suffice, or must it be in the body of the agreement itself?
A protocol would definitely be a step forward because it would give Britain more legal firepower to claim that the EU really has to make an effort to conclude a trade deal ultimately to replace the so-called backstop status. Now, the problem is that French President Macron has already threatened to keep the British in the backstop unless they would compromise on fish. So there's not actually a lot of good faith on both sides there. I would say, I think ultimately, if it's going to be really hard for Theresa May to sell even cosmetic changes to the deal or even real changes, I think we will have to look at reopening negotiations on the withdrawal agreement. And European leaders have to be responsible.
If you were a betting man, if you were a betting man, would you say that the chances of a no deal happening have gone up? A no Brexit have gone up?
I think the chances of no deal are near zero because a no deal would be so epically damaging to both sides. Around 500,000 jobs in Britain, around 1 million in the EU 27, and then those 1 million will be mainly concentrated in Ireland, the Benelux, France and Germany. So nobody really wants to have a no deal. If you look at a second referendum, no Brexit, then I think people have to think this through. This is still very, very unlikely because the Labour Party first have to come out in favor of a referendum again on membership. They need to win an election. There has to be an election in the first place. Then the people in Britain have to actually vote to stay in the EU. And that is not a given at all. And then even if all that happens, it's very questionable how good a partner the UK would be in the EU. The British would likely be much more of a complex partner to deal with than before 2016. So I think the obvious way out is to look at what parts of the withdrawal agreement can be improved for the British, because this is perfectly possible. We don't need to scrap all the work that has been done. We only need to look at some aspects, specifically with regards to the fact that the EU has a veto over when Britain leaves its rule taker status.
Right.